So I have 10 o'clock. Good morning, Jessica. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I am good. It's 10 o'clock. Let's rock and roll. Welcome to the 2022 State of the Real Estate Market Address. My name is Zan Monroe. I'm the Executive Officer for the Longleaf Pine Realtors Association. And this is Dr. Jessica Lautz. And Dr. Jessica Lautz is Vice President of Demographics and Behavioral Insights at the National Association of Realtors. The core of her research focuses on analyzing trends for both NAR members and housing consumers. Through management of surveys, focus groups, data analysis, she presents new and innovative ways to showcase the results. Jessica discusses research findings in major media outlets and international presentations. And in 2021, Dr. Lautz was named as one of the most influential women in leadership in the housing industry by Housing Wire's Women of Influence. And I've heard you speak several times. I always enjoy it. She volunteers at Nottingham Trent University as an industry fellow, mentoring real estate graduate students. And this is the coolest thing about Jessica. She received her doctorate of real estate. And I didn't even know you could get one of these from Nottingham Trent University in the United Kingdom. So she had to leave the United States to get a doctorate in real estate. She also holds a master's in public policy from American University and undergraduate degrees in political science, law, justice from Central Washington University. Jessica, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for that introduction. I like to read. I had a lot of student loan debt, but luckily I've now finally paid that off. So I'm psyched to join you this morning after a long holiday weekend, but I know realtors never take a day off. It doesn't matter what day of week it is. So I'm sure everyone was very busy over the weekend. So I am going to share my screen here and hopefully everyone can see that okay. Dan, that look okay on your end?
Looks good. And I'll remind our viewers that there's a slide bar between the video images and the PowerPoints you can adjust so you can see Jessica. And I'm going to make my video go away. So let's see if I can make my video go away. So you'll be the only one there. And I've got my notepad and pen ready. I'm excited.
All right, let's jump in. All right. So we're starting the year on really stable ground for the housing market. There's been a lot of demand over the last 2 years. That demand is not likely going to go away. Some of that is driven by people working from home, remote work trends, and CEOs are really grappling right now. They're having a hard time retaining talent. The phrase, the great resignation, has been popping up in lots of media outlets, and it's afoot. People are saying, I want to work remote. I want the flexibility. Some of that is because they have to. They have to have that flexibility right now because kids are going in and out of school. They're going hybrid. Someone gets COVID. The whole classroom is home and so on. They can't find substitute teachers. Some of that's due to elder care. So we want to have our grandparents and our elderly relatives in our homes right now from a safety perspective and not in nursing homes and not in assisted living. And so as those family members move in, someone has to take care of them. Someone needs to check in on them. And that's becoming very difficult for people to be in a workplace where they have to go into the office. Some of it's just because we got all comfortable wearing sweatpants during the day. And so maybe we just want to continue that trend. A lot of the trends that are going on right now have to do with families. So it's the number one reason to actually sell a home right now is actually to be closer to friends and family. And that means a lot of migration trends. So your state, Carolinas, both of them, North Carolina, South Carolina, it does not matter. There is a lot of population moving to those areas. So if we look at places in the Northeast, there's actually a lot of population moving from New York, from DC, from Boston, and they're actually saying, I want a warmer climate. I want to go down to the Carolinas. I want to go down to Florida. And we see these migration floods happening. And some of this is purchase activity. Some of it's primary residence activity. And some of it is actually the secondary market. So you see people buying second homes, vacation homes, investment properties, and those themes overlap as well, as someone may Airbnb or VRBO that property at the same time as they may be using that home for a vacation home as well, when they can work there, when they can live there and enjoy their time. So we see these trends as really this overarching trend in the real estate market, and that's likely to continue into this year. Let's look at some hard data now. When we look at what we see today, we know that the 30-year fixed, it's 3.2. That is low. So we've had it about 3.1, 3.2 for weeks now, months, and that is an incredibly low rate. If we look back 10 years ago, we're talking about a rate that was 4.5, if not higher for some borrowers. And so that's clearly a very different rate and a very different payment that you have at the end of the month. What becomes really interesting here is that we know that the Fed is likely going to jack up those rates, but not high. So we're looking at 3.7 by year end of 2022. That's Lawrence Yunes, our chief economist. His forecast for year end is 3.7%. It's not high if we look at this on a historical perspective. Many of you have worked in real estate for a very long period of time, and you know that's still a great rate, especially if you're looking at a first-time home buyer who is facing rents that are going to rise considerably versus locking at 3.7 at the high end there for the year end. That is still a very good rate to lock in for the next 30 years. That being said, it's going to make some buyers pretty nervous. And so the time of the year now that we're in, traditionally, it would be a slower time of the year. You wouldn't see a ton of buyers there, but we still have a lot of buyers in the market. We still have an environment where there's more than 3 offers per home listed on a nationwide scale. And that's really due to that demand and what's happening there with why people are moving. But it's also because we don't have much inventory. In fact, we have towards the lowest inventory that we've recorded back to the 1980s. It's just over 1 million units for sale right now. It's about 2.1 months supplies. That number is a fake number. It's a complete lie because it includes pending contracts. We know once something is pending, it's not actually real supply. So that's really a pretty big issue today. We know that home prices are continuing to increase. Just last month, they increased 14% year over year. If we look at this on a spectrum, we can see that in 180 markets that we're tracking, there's year over year home price increases, and more than 75% of them, it's double digit. That is very, very strong home price growth. It's not as strong as what we saw in Q2. It's not as strong as what we saw in Q3 even, but this is very strong home price growth. We also know it's been happening for the longest period of time that we've actually ever tracked, 117 months of year-over-year home price growth. So it's very hard for a home buyer who's sitting on the sidelines, who's saying, I want to get in, I want to get in, I want to be a first-time home buyer, I want to be close to friends and family, I want to relocate, I don't want to be a renter anymore, I don't want to live in this expensive city center in DC, I want to move to the Carolinas, I want to live where my family is and have my support system around me, and I can work remotely. It's hard for them to imagine saying, I can move here and I can do this quickly because they're seeing these home price increases. And so that's hard just on a national scale when they see these data points as well. And I know Zan's going to break this down on a local level, which is going to be great to follow this up here. The other thing that we know is that this inventory is tight and we have a lot of all cash purchases. We actually see that 17% of repeat buyers today are paying all cash. They've saved money over the last year, their discretionary spending. Maybe that's taking international vacations. Maybe that's going to sporting events and movies and so on and so on. And as they've restricted their spending down, they're able to purchase second homes. They're able to purchase all cash purchases, and they've earned equity as their own home has gained in value over the last 2 years. They really have seen a lot of cash and they're moving to a more affordable market. And that allows even primary residence buyers to be able to make all cash purchases. If we look at vacation buyers in the market, half of them are making all cash purchases. So a very substantial amount of those vacation buyers being able to walk into a market that they don't actually have a primary residence in and say, I can buy this. And maybe I can get a BOGO deal. I can get 2 for 1 because I am able to move to this more affordable market. The other thing that we're seeing here is that homes are moving incredibly fast with this limited inventory. And so they have just 1 week on market today. That is the lowest time on market that we actually have ever recorded. We are expecting that days on market should go up, because if we see those interest rates go up, if we see that buyers are not able to actually afford, maybe those are those buyers on the fringe, they're not able actually to squeeze in and to purchase a home as they continue to see home price gains, but also those slight upticks in interest rates, maybe that $50, maybe that $70 that they would have had at the end of the month, that's a game changer for them. And so they can't enter the market. And so you would expect that there would be fewer buyers entering, but unfortunately, we're just not seeing that right now. And so homes are still moving very, very fast. The other thing that we're seeing is that sellers are really happy. They're getting 100% of the list price. There really is not room for negotiation there on the list price. No incentives to be seen here. We're not attracting buyers. There really are a lot of buyers in the pipeline, and they're willing to pay over asking. A third of homes are moving for over asking price in the last year as well. So why in the world are we missing 4.5 to 6.5 million homes right now? That is what our estimate is. That is a wide range. I know that. There are lots of reasons behind that. Maybe you can have building repurposing, and so you don't have as many homes that are missing. Maybe you can revitalize these vacant homes or vacant buildings. Maybe that's a mall or a motel hotel that's being repurposed. And so you don't necessarily have those missing homes. That being said, there are also regional differences here. If you talk to leaders in California, they will tell you the old mayor of California was saying that they were missing 3 to 4 million homes just in the Bay Area. So there's lots of estimates out there, but we say at NAR 4.5 to 6.5 million homes that we're missing right now. And there's lots of reasons behind this. The same reason why you can't find a number of items on shelves today, whether that is pet food. I have 4 cats, and it was hard to find wet cat food in the last couple of weeks. Why? I have no freaking idea. That is very frustrating to me. You have cats, so they want to eat. But there's lots of supply issues, and it doesn't matter what it is, but a lot of these issues are COVID related. A lot of them are just shipping related as well. But the housing supply issues, it is a number of them. And maybe that's availability of land, the expense of land and building, labor constraints, and some of that's due to COVID, but some of that went well beyond COVID and what has been happening for a number of years now. And that goes with training skilled labor to actually build homes. We just are missing those types of career paths in the US. And so we really are missing those employees to build homes. We're also having all of these supply constraints that we continue to have in the US right now, laws in density restrictions. So thinking about the restriction to have 2 parking spots versus 1 parking spot when you only have 1 adult living in that home. Tenure in home as well has lengthened over time as people have locked in low interest rates. They're staying in place. They're not having babies as much. They're not getting married and divorced as much. And so demographic factors are really driving this increase of tenure in home, as well as people aging in place. As people age in place and they say, I don't want to move into a nursing home. I don't want to move into assisted living. I want to stay here for an extended period of time. That's lengthening that tenure in home as well. So these 4.5 to 6.5 million homes that we're missing, it really has to do with this myriad of factors. It's not just one issue. It is a number of issues that really we are looking at here. So is there any relief? We know we need more inventory. I'm going to show you some charts here of why this is going to actually become worse as we look at household formation and what we expect for household formation. What I will say right now is that, yes, we are seeing more housing starts come in. That being said, the lack of building that we have been having in the US has been happening for more than a decade. And so we need considerable ramp up in housing starts, and especially at the affordable price point, which is very, very difficult for builders to build at. They really just don't see a price point where that becomes easy for them and that they actually make a profit off of having affordable units. We also know that some older sellers, potential sellers, may be saying as COVID numbers go up or they go down, that as they go down, they're willing to put their home in the market. As they go up, they don't feel as safe. And so that's something that is happening. And we see that in survey data as well. The other thing that could be a relief is increase in building repurposing. We've done a number of case studies on this at NAR actually, looking at repurposing motels, hotels, those vacant malls, looking at existing units that are there, those office buildings. And if employees aren't coming back, why can that not be repurposed into residential units? As we look at this as an issue, we do see that 10% of our members actually have worked with developers in building repurposing and sold those units as well. So that's certainly not something in local communities to look at. And then local advocacy. This is incredibly important as we think about those local laws and we think about, can you build a multifamily property on a piece of land that is just zoned for a single unit? Can we look at those laws? Can we look at the car laws and the parking restrictions and things like this? This becomes incredibly important at a local level because you all know those issues at a much greater level and depth than we ever will on a national level. All right, so the other thing I want to say here is that this is a big issue. When we look at the number of homes that are available, we look at those ramp up in prices and the affordability, it becomes very, very difficult for first-time home buyers to enter into the market. And I want to show you some data here on why focusing on millennials, understanding this trend is really important to real estate. So when we look at the data here, what I am showing you on this graph is that the US population in age in just the vast number of people in this country today. All right, so if we start at the first bar, this green line, those are the little babies that were born this year, the pandemic babies, less than 1 year old. As this graph trickles off, we can see in the gray bars that this is with mortality rates. We're just seeing the number of aging adults is trickling off here. All right, so right smack dab in the middle are millennials. This is the largest generation of the US. It is wider than any other generation that we see in this chart, but it's also taller. Just means there's more millions of adults in the US who are millennials than any other age category. And as we look at this, and what becomes really important when we look at this graph is that red bar is the age of 33. That is the median age of a first-time home buyer today. And when we look at that bar, what we can see is that behind it for like the next 6 years, we can really see that there is a lot of young adults who are aging into what is typically a first-time home buyer age. And that becomes really important when we look at this lack of affordable inventory and the lack of construction at the affordable price point, but also just the lack of movement that we have in the US. It really becomes difficult for these young potential home buyers to be able to enter. And what we're looking at here is about 24 million young adults between the age of 28 and 32. That is the typical age of a first-time home buyer. So really flat bar here is the median age of first-time home buyers, range between 28 and 33, 33 for the last 3 years. So all of that wave of young adults behind it becomes really important. The other thing I want to point out on this chart, the median age of a repeat buyer is now 56, up from 36 in the 80s. And that becomes important because people are taking on a mortgage later in life. Maybe it's an all cash purchase, but they're staying put in this home. They're saying, this is my forever home. I am living longer. I'm working longer. I'm feeling healthy, and I want to make this home purchase. And that is something that did not happen when we look back at our grandparents' timeframes. When we look at the silent generation, that certainly did not happen, the greatest generation. And so this shift is going to crunch inventory even more than we're already currently seeing. It's hitting first-time home buyers. We just see that 34% of the market today is first-time home buyers. There was a slight uptick in this last year. And the reason why, there's more parental help in the last year than we have seen in the past. There's a lot of young adults who moved home during the pandemic, saved up money, paid down debt, but also they had down payment assistance. So these are some trends that we're seeing here. And that's all I got for you, but I'm happy to take any questions that you may have as well.
Whew. My fingers are tired. I got to catch up here. I've been writing hard. Let me see how I get my camera back on. Give me just a minute and I'll join you.
Jan, we can see you.
Oh, y'all can see me? I couldn't see me. I got writer's cramp. Jessica, you talk too fast, girl.
I'm sorry.
I got 5 pages of notes and As you know, I work a lot with Dr. Yoon. I follow your research department very closely, so I knew a lot of this, so I've got questions, but let's turn to our audience first. Somebody said, can we see the last slide again? I assume that's the millennial slide.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's
the research slide, probably.
Oh,
because it didn't stay up very long. Can you pop that back up there?
Yep.
And I'm going to ask, can I get your PowerPoint or in a PDF? Do you share those? If you'll absolutely email that to me. Yeah, they want to see the one with your resources. So let's talk about how they can get more information. And you can certainly get more information at nar.realtor under the research tab. Let me just tell those of you listening, the research department of the National Association of Realtors is the best in the world. And they have all of these amazing research documents if you will go and access them, but they're not going to materialize on your desk through magic. You have to go and pull them. Jessica, can you show us that slide that had the websites and stuff on it, your last slide? That's it. Okay, so facebook.com, NAR Research Group, and I am not part of that. NAR Research Group. So you post on social media, and then Twitter at NAR Research and Jessica Louts, and then nar.realtor/blogs and the Economist Outlook. Heck, here, I'm tired of writing. Folks, just take a picture of the screen.
Yeah, I would just encourage taking a picture of the screen, or whatever social media platform you like going to. We're just reposting the content on everything. So we'll come out with a new blog post. Seriously, I think on Friday we had 4 new blog posts from different writers that we have, different researchers on completely different topics. But every day we're posting new content, and then we'll just make sure that we post it on every social media platform. So if you like Insta and you like to scroll through pretty pictures, go to Insta, follow us there. And we'll have lots of infographics and stuff that are up with the new blog posts and the new research that we're putting out.
Okay. But my go-to is nar.realtor and then under research, but you're saying blogs/economist-outlook. And is TJ Doyle still with y'all in DC?
So I don't know if you know this, Zan, he is not at NAR, but he is upstairs in my house because we have been married for almost 9 years now.
What?
10 years. Oh my God, he's going to yell at me. We've been married for almost 10 years now.
I did not know that. Well, I haven't talked to him in a while. And oh my goodness, I did not.
I'm blushing. I will tell him that you said hi. Yeah.
You tell him. I did not know that. Well, congratulations. I'm tickled to death for you. 2 of my favorite people.
He's at the American Public Transportation Association right now. So working on public transit across the country, which is incredibly important.
Yeah. And is he still in research too?
He isn't. So he heads up their comms department. So
fun. Well, tell him I said, hey, I did not know that. All right, so let's turn to our audience and let's see if we've got questions. And
I saw one on the Fed policy. And I would say, yes, the rate change, absolutely, that should impact home buying. So we do expect that the Fed's going to increase rates at least a couple times through the year, probably 3 times. That will increase the 30-year fixed. Our forecast is 3.7%. We reserve the right to revise that. So Lawrence does revise his forecast every couple months with our pending home sales release. So we do keep an eye on it. And that's the one good thing about the blog and social media is that anytime there's an announcement, anytime there's any sort of data announcement from the government, whether that's the monthly jobs numbers, we're putting out something, a commentary of how that impacts the housing market.
Yeah. And the Treasury bills have more to do with home mortgages than the Fed rate, but when the Fed rate starts ticking up, everybody's going to follow.
Yes, exactly. And yes, and that will happen. There is a lag, but it is likely to happen this year.
So I want to come back. I don't see any other questions. If you have questions, ask Jessica. We're going to lose her in just a minute, so you better get your chance at her while we can. I want to come back to the housing shortage. And one of the myths that are floating around our industry right now is, oh, this is just temporary. It's going to go away by the, in just a few days or weeks. And as you said, we have underbuilt for the last 15 years, 10 to 15 years. And so this is a true housing shortage. Mm-hmm. And then I was amazed by your millennial information. I hadn't thought through that process. Here they come into the marketplace over the next 5 or 6 years, and they're just going to wipe out anything that's available. But the one other thing that you said was local advocacy. And I want to impress upon those folks listening, if you have any influence over local planning boards and local governments in your counties, and we cover about an 11 county region here, we've got to rethink the way we zone and approve housing, because if government slows us down at every turn and, oh no, you can't build multifamily over here and you can't do this and you can't do that, and you can only fit into these little boxes, we're not going to catch up. The other thing is, if you want your kids to be rich and famous, put them in the construction world, because in the next 20 years, I think they're going to be able to make all the money they ever wanted to make. All right. So I'm asking for questions out there. Anybody? Before we let Jessica go. Wow. I'm going to have to go back and do this again, because like I say, I've got 5 pages of notes. I'm like, I can't keep up.
So there was just one last question. I think the clarification on the amount of millennials, there's different estimates out there, but I would say in that home buying age, the typical home buyers, we're looking at about 24 million Americans who are getting into that. Yeah.
So
they're ready.
Between the 28 and 33 age group, as they move forward up into the mid 30s, 24 million over the next 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're ready. They want to buy homes. Not everyone's going to be mortgage ready, obviously. But they're ready. Homeownership is their American dream.
Oh yeah. It's everybody's American dream. I mean, this is where we store our wealth. I got a question. How about new construction? How do you see it in the future?
Yeah, and I think that's the really big problem, is that we're seeing housing starts go up. But even when we see housing starts go up, we traditionally, pre-pandemic, before times, looked at that being 6 to 9 months, about the same time as a baby to get born as that house. Yeah. This time period, we are seeing that be delayed by years. And so that's really become an increasing problem. And a lot of that has to do with the supply constraints, the labor constraints, all of those laws that home builders have to have hurdles to really build a piece of property has really become a very big issue in this country.
And that doesn't include land development timeframes.
Right.
I remember years ago, we saw other markets in the Northeast taking a couple of years to bring raw land to the marketplace. Now they're 4 and 6 years, and here we are 2 to 4 years to bring raw land to the marketplace, and that's just not going to work.
And you're seeing home buyers actually purchasing new homes, brand new homes with these housing starts, and they've gone through the model. And then the home builder says, sorry, I can't expect this home to be ready for you in the next 1.5 years, 2 years. And that's a very big problem that's happening nationwide.
Yeah. Yeah. I talked to one of our realtors last week, as a matter of fact, who represents home builders here, and they aren't even pricing the house until they can put drywall in it because they're not sure that they can finish the house and what the cost will be. Right now, they can't get garage doors. A few weeks ago, they couldn't get the flexi duct for the heating and air, and all of those stopped the production. So Tyrone says, what demographic group will you see? What demographic group you see will be the greatest demand? Hispanic, African American? Is there a demographic group where there's greater demand?
Yeah. So I didn't touch on that in this presentation, but we have done a wealth of research on this topic. So I, again, encourage you to check out, we have the snapshot of race and home buying in America. I will say that right now, the homeownership rate gap for Black versus white Americans is as wide as when the Fair Housing Act started back in 1968. It is really not encouraging looking at these numbers. We know that there are a lot of minority individuals who are trying to enter homeownership, and they're encountering a lot of problems in doing so. And whether that is systemic issues that they're running into in the process, whether that is denial for mortgages, that we see that even successful African-American home buyers are denied at 2.5 times the rate of white home buyers. And those are successful home buyers, or whether that is appraisal issues and they're a seller. We know that issues are happening in this home buying and home selling process. I will say that we have seen an increase, a slight uptick in the homeownership rate by Hispanic and Latino Americans. But that gap still is very considerable. And there's a lot of work to do on that.
Cool. So in certain areas, house prices were increasingly insane during the pandemic, but rent prices were lagging. What's your take on that? Is rent still lagging home prices, or is it exceeding?
It is more affordable to purchase a home in most areas of the country, especially in suburban areas outside of city centers at this point. And that's based on new research as of last week. And that's actually from Adam Research. We have our own research. It still says the same thing, that purchasing is more affordable in most markets of the country. I will say that rents are expected to go up next year. So we likely will even see more investors coming in and saying, oh, I can purchase a property and I can jack up rents. And so with that wave of millennials who isn't going to find a home to buy easily, they're going to have to go to renting. They can't live in their parents' house forever. That's probably not a great situation for anyone. And so at some point, they probably will enter the rental market and they're going to see rents increasing.
So overall, it's a good time to buy versus rent.
Yes, absolutely.
I love it. Any other questions while we have Jessica? Here we go. From an appraiser. Are appraisals going to be reduced in use due to waivers and due to these numbers? Are appraisals going to be reduced? In other words, the number of appraisals, Oscar, I guess that's what you're saying.
So we have seen, and this has been really interesting over the last year, people are waiving appraisals. About a quarter of the market, and this goes up and down. This is a monthly number that's based on the Realtors Confidence Index. But it's been about a quarter of the market is waiving the appraisal, about a quarter of the market is waiving the home inspection, and a little less than a quarter of the market. And we're talking about vacation buyers, primary residents, and investors are paying all cash. And so some of that has to do because it's an all cash purchase and someone is willing to take the risk on because they don't necessarily care the shape of the home. They're planning on remodeling anyway, and they don't necessarily mind that the shape of the home. That's an interesting take as a home buyer, but that is a choice. And so with that goes the waive of appraisal as well, because it's not attached to the financing because there is no financing happening in that situation. Will that continue? That is a great question. If there's more investors coming into the market, it very well could. But investors, they're not necessarily as tied to mortgage interest rates because they're willing to pay, more likely to pay all cash. So that's a great question, is if that risk is going to continue, I think, in the market.
And you said a quarter of the markets or a quarter of the home sales, no appraisal and no inspection.
Yep.
And then what was our percentage of all cash buyers across the board?
Across the board, it's a little less than a quarter as well.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think the highest it's been is 24%. The lowest maybe it's been this year is 20%, but it's fluctuated in those 20s, low 20s.
All right. One good question here. What about the appraisals? We keep hearing, oh, you know, with the forbearance, there's going to be a flood of appraisals in the market, and it's going to fix this whole problem.
Haven't seen it yet. We expected some too. Our forecast originally did call that could bump up inventory. We haven't seen it. So, that being said, it's not going to be a distress sale. It's not going to be a foreclosure or short sale. And the reason why is home prices have moved up considerably. So that's going to be a positive environment for that actual seller to sell in and could walk away with a considerable sum of money. CoreLogic did an analysis on this to see among the people who are actually in forbearance, how many are underwater, and it was low single digits. And that was a year ago, which means it's probably zero now. It's just not likely that those people are underwater and there would be foreclosures or short sales in this market.
In other words, if I'm in trouble with my mortgage, sticks a sign in the yard, let's sell the house, take the money, pay off the mortgage and walk away.
Yep. Move to a more affordable market, go rent for a time. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Jessica, any other questions before we turn her loose? I know you have other places to visit by Zoom today. Awesome.
Right.
Next time we get together, I'll come and visit. Thanks. Tell TJ I said hi. That's so neat. That is so neat.
I will tell him.
He's one of my favorite people, and I never get to see him. So tell him I said hi.
I will.
You have a great day. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Whew. I don't know about y'all. Now I have 8 pages of notes. Let's take a look at the local market. And I think you will see oops. Let's see if I can share my screen before I do all that. Let's take a look at the local real estate market. And here we go. Hopefully you can see both on the screen. Give me just a few minutes and we'll take a look at what's going on around us. So the red map that you see is our footprint. It's where we pull the majority of our data, and it's where we see our marketplace. It's where we pull our market. So Wake, Johnston County, certainly that's the Raleigh market. Moore County, certainly that's the Southern Pines market. But the truth is we have sales in all of these markets, and your MLS committee last year did the coolest thing. They agreed to a new research product called Fast Stats and Info Sparks. And I want to accomplish 2 things here in the next 20 minutes or so. Number 1, I want to give you data, but number 2, I want to show you how simple it is for you to pull this data just like that. So the next time you go to the multiple listing service and you get ready to sign in on your screen here, instead of clicking on CoreLogic, look below there. And right below CoreLogic and Matrix and Realist is, oh my goodness, these are Fast Stats and Info Sparks. And this is the coolest thing I have seen in years. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. I'm going to walk you through it live here in just a few minutes. But the truth is, you can get great information out of our multiple listing. Let's take a look at what data this service gives us. and then I'll show you how to find it. These are charts that are pulled from our MLS, and they are run through showing time. And then showing time gives it back to us in chart and graph form. Now, what you are looking at here is a 3-year running total of information year by year through the end of December. So at the bottom, if you'll see sales price, new listings, home for sale, pending sales, I'll walk you through all of these reports, but the truth is it's just a click away. So currently the median sales price in our multiple listing service is $210,198. That is all sales, all properties, residential and new construction combined. We have had a price gain in the last 12 months across our 11 counties of 13.6%, almost exactly what Jessica was saying national. We have appreciated 13.6% in the median sales price. Since January 1 of 2020, that price has gone up 23.7%. Now, those of you who have tracked this over the years, we usually sit around 3% growth per year. This is astounding growth for us. And I think it's going to remain, it's going to continue. So our median sales price is going up. Now, home sales are going down, or the volume of homes for sale, not homes selling, but the ones we have available. Currently, we have 941 houses in 11 counties for sale. That's a 40% reduction over last year, where we only had 1,500, which was a 39% reduction over the year before. So our inventory, which normally hovers, should be running about 3,000 houses, is sitting less than 1,000 houses. But the volume of sales continues to grow. This year, we closed 12,442 closed sales in the calendar year of 2021. And since 2020, that volume went up 11% this year. Since 2020, we've grown 29.2% in the volume of sales. So usually the news media, when they report, they blow it completely because they focus on no inventory. What they're missing is the volume of sales is greater than it ever has been. So houses are coming on the market, they're selling. Americans are moving, Americans are selling. We're relocating. We have houses for sale, and we're buying them at huge rates. Days on the market, as we all know, is almost gone to nothing. Currently, it's 6 days on the market. That's a year-long average. I've never seen these kind of numbers. Last year, we averaged 15 days on the market for the entire year. This year, 6 days in 2021, 6 days on the market. That is median. We have a 1 month supply in our multiple listing service. Over 11 counties, 1 month supply. Certain markets may be less inventory or greater, but total market, 1 month. And just like Jessica said, we are now achieving 100% of sales price, 100% of asking price. And that means that's a median, which means for everyone that's less than asking, there's one that's more than asking. Price per square foot is up 14%, and Dave Evans does reporting for us on new construction, and this is how he calculates appreciation in our marketplace. When the price per square foot goes up, that means all other things considered, it's identical appreciation. So again, if somebody asks you, are house prices going up? I think you can stand on the number of 14% this past year as a solid number we have appreciated. 22.9% since 2020. So in the last 24 months, we're up 22.9% across all markets. The volume of our market is greater than it's ever been. We this year closed 2.7 billion in sales. That's a 26% increase over last year, which was 2.2 billion in sales. Just 2019, which was one of the best years we had ever seen to that date, it was $1.6 billion. So the volume of sales, the prices are going up, and then so the marketplace is very healthy. So let me stop for just a minute and answer a couple of questions that are popping in before I move on into county by county look. So question, is the territory covered the same in 2019, 2020, and 2021? The answer is yes. So we're looking at the same geographic area. And then the question between the median and the average. The median is the dead center of the market. So if you say the median is 50, everything above it and everything below it. So there'd be 50 houses below and 50 houses above. The median is the dead center of the market. The average is when you take a look at all the sales divided by the number of sales and you come up with average. I prefer median because I think it's a little more accurate. Dave, thank you for cleaning that up. Can markets be broken down by county? Just so glad you asked. I'm getting ready to go right there. Let's take a look at Cumberland County. So in Cumberland County in 2021, single family existing sales, 5,766 closed existing in Cumberland County. A median sales price, that's the dead middle of the market, is $185,000. I think I did that wrong. Wait a minute. Y'all can't see what I'm seeing. Let me get back. Share screen. Got excited and I started clicking buttons. Sorry about that. All right. So Cumberland County. I get excited about this stuff. Sorry about that. So in 2021, single family existing sales, 5,766 were closed in Cumberland County. That's a median sales price of $185,000. New construction in Cumberland County, 454. The median sales price of new construction in Cumberland County is 284. All right. So if you're making notes, let's compare. Cumberland County, 5766 closed, a median sales price of 185 for existing, and then for new construction is 454 and 284. We also have the ability to pull townhouse and condos. And in 2021, we closed 472 townhouse and condos in Cumberland County. The median sales price was $95,250. Okay. Now, if you look at this chart, and this is in the infographics, the info sparks that we're gonna that you have available to you, all you got to do is click a few buttons. It's easy. If I can figure it out, you can figure it out. The red line is single family sales. The blue line is new construction, and the yellow line is townhouse and condo. From 2010 through the end of 2021, you can see that condominiums have pretty much remained the same value. Actually, they've dribbled down and they have finally regained the same value that they had in 2010. The red line is single family existing, pretty much stable as a price point until 2020, and then we have growth. New construction has made steady gains for the last 10 years or so. Let's take a look at Harnett County. 16 1,630 single-family existing closed this year in Harnett County, as compared to 5,766 in Cumberland. So Cumberland's market is bigger, but Harnett's sales price is higher, 252 compared to 185. So the Harnett County existing marketplace is much smaller than Cumberland, but their price points are higher. In new construction, 351 closed in new construction as compared to 454 for Cumberland, and average sales price 275 for new construction, a little bit less than Cumberland County. So you can get more house for the money, we assume, in Harnett County. Townhouse condo market, very small, 24 closed in Harnett County. And the average sales price or median sales price is 186. And again, we'll take a look at pricing. The yellow line is townhouse and condos, and you see the jagged line. That would be markets and times where there were no sales or not many sales for townhouse and condos. The red line and the blue line, red line is single family existing, blue line is new construction in Harnett County. Again, it bears out that pretty much our prices have been flat for the last 10 years, but in the last 2 years, they've begun to rise. Take a look at Hoke County. Hoke County single family, 1,147 closed, average sales or median sales price 205. So even Hoke County has a median sales price higher than Cumberland County. And then for new construction, we have 154 closed, median sales price 277, 736, which is on par with Harnett County and Cumberland. And then condominiums and townhomes, only 5 this year, closed, median sales price 153 in Hoke County. The reason the jagged yellow line at the bottom of your screen is up and down and up and down, that represents times where there were no sales of townhomes and condos. And again, the red line is single family existing, and the blue line is new construction, and they are following the same trends as all our other counties. Lee County. Lee County for existing homes, 536 closed. It's a smaller marketplace, 245,000 median sales price, still higher than Cumberland County. New construction, 129 closed. So Lee County is almost ready to catch Hoke County as new construction. Lots of new jobs. And I'll remind you that for every 2 jobs created in the market, you need 1 new living unit. Let me do that again. For every 2 jobs created in your marketplace, you need 1 new living unit. Lee County is banking job after job after job, bringing industry after industry into that area. And their new construction is responding in kind with quite a few new construction, almost to catch Hoke County at this point. Townhouse and condos for Lee County, 18, average sales price 179. Not a big demand for townhouse and condos in our marketplace. And then when you look at the price points, interesting new construction lines in around the 2013, 2015 area. I'm not sure what was built or what was done that caused that price jump, but new construction, single family and townhouse. Red line is single family, blue line is new construction. And then last, we'll take a look at Robeson County, and they're not last. It's just I did this alphabetically. So our folks down in Robeson County, I didn't mean to leave you. I saved the best for last. How about that? Robeson County, single family, 400 closings So Robeson County and Lee County almost on par, about 100 closings less. Median price $152,000 for single family down in Robeson County. 36 new construction closed. Average or median sales price is $212,950. So the new construction world isn't as big or as strong in Robeson County. And then townhouse and condos, 19 townhouses and condos closed for a median sales price of $131,000. So I'm looking at Lee County and Robeson County pretty much on par for condominiums, and in the same market with Harnett and beating Hoke with better volume. And Robeson County is all over the place in price points. And I think that's the size of the marketplace reflects, radical changes when new products come on the market. They sell out, disappear in that market. So, a lot of information. It is recorded, but I want to take you to my computer for just a minute before we, and I want to show you where you can get all of this information. Hang on, let me. Okay, I'm going to do something dangerous here. I'm going to share my screen and make sure I've got the right screen up. All right, this is your sign-in sheet for Matrix, Real List. And I'm going to click right here on Info Sparks. You with me? And when you click on it, you get this screen. All right. So just quickly, I want to do this drop down box. You can do the entire MLS, Aberdeen, Anger, Altreville, Bennett, Cameron, Carthage, Chadburn, every city that we have in our marketplace. You can search by city. You can search by zip code, or you can search by county. Bladen, Brunswick, Chatham, Columbus, Cumberland, all of these we have data in, all right? And let's say you want information about a zip code. Well, you just enter the zip code. I'll put in here at the office 28304, and that will give us the zip code for all data in this zip code. Average sales price, new listings, how many homes are for sale. If you don't like the line chart, you drop down and turn it into a bar chart. Isn't that cool? Look where my cursor is. You can look at 1 year, or you can look at 2 years, or you can look at 3. It's so simple. Oh, you want to see a monthly for December, or do you want to see a rolling 3 months? Or what I was showing you earlier is a rolling 12 months, and you're done, folks. This ain't rocket science. If Zan can do it, you can do it. Oh, you can get into property types and bedrooms and baths and when it was built and all that stuff if you want to. I'll hide that for a minute. But the truth is, with 3 or 4 clicks, you can be a genius. Now, what are you going to do with this data? You're going to share it on social media. You're going to share it with your database. You're going to use it. It's not really listing information, but it is fabulous research, and you should be there. Now, Fast Stats gives us a different look. Fast Stats, all I have to do is click on the county. Let's click on Harnett County. Well, guess what? I can pull up data for Bun Level just with a click. I can pull up Lillington, just a click. And this gives us an update for December 2021, just for Lillington, year to date, single family, new construction, condos, and pricing. And y'all thought I was smart. See, I should have never shown y'all this. You would have come by the office and you would have gone, Zan is so smart. No, Zan ain't that smart. Zan just knows what buttons to click. If you're interested in me teaching a class on this, we will do it. And I can do it by Zoom. But if you'll spend 15 minutes in there, you'll go, oh my goodness, it's so simple. So questions at this point. Trina says, if I select an area like Cary, is this all the data? Is this all data or only from a particular MLS? It is only our data at this point. When we go to data share with the Triangle MLS, we have to answer that question. Do we want access through this research to all the data between their MLS and ours too? We would love your feedback. We will be sending you a survey. So Dave, can you come and join me? Emily, if you can get Dave up on the screen with me.
I can't start the video because the host has stopped my video.
Zan, if you could hover over David's name where it says panelists and click more, it should have an option to change him back into a co-host, and then he'll have capability to turn his video on.
I'm making Dave Evans a co-host right
Brilliant.
now.
Thank you.
I know. I'm brilliant. See, it's not what you know, it's whether you can get that right spot or not. Hey, Big Dave, you're just
Guys. Hey.
Dave Evans and I have done this for 10 years, 15 years.
Ever since we started it.
Ever since we started it, we do this together. And I wanted to bring Dave in because he knows new construction on the street level. I've just got the numbers. Talk to us about what's going on in new construction right now, Dave.
Well, I think especially, what was our guest?
Jessica.
Guest? Jessica, you know, she hit we have a lot of the same factors, right? We've got tremendous price increases. Land cost is going up. I mean, just to give you a real recent example, we're working on a new development, and our engineer told us that just the development cost per lot is $80,000. That's just for the development. That's the
wait. 80?
80000, yeah.
80,000 per lot.
Per lot. Yeah. We're running into situations where lots are running us by the time development is done, because we do a lot of developing of our own stuff. And we're buying lots from Mr. Woods, Clyde Woods, and so forth. Some of our lots, of course, we do nice neighborhoods, are up around $100,000 in total cost to get ready to do the building pad. So those, and there's a lot of factors for that. A lot of it has happened, like our development cost more than doubled during the pandemic. So what it costs to develop a lot before COVID is now twice as much, and it continues to go up. You know, I break everything out by new construction versus existing, as right. You taught me 30 years ago. And so, you know, when you look at median prices for existing and versus, like, we combined it a while ago, and it showed pretty good. But new construction, we're at $124 a square foot. So $124 a square foot it was $115 a year ago. So that's 8%, but our prices have gone up way beyond the 8% dollar per square foot. We have had another, 7% in median price went up, but that has to do with the fact that we also went down in median size by about 2%. So we shrunk the house, and, so we did get a little more per square foot. But 124 median is still not, doesn't reflect what the price has had. So as she mentioned, this happened around the country. A lot of builders are just having to go, is it even worth to build?
Right.
I mean, it's so scary to build and then get a 40,000 or 50,000 low appraisal. Right. And so, what I've seen now is a lot of builders that I'm familiar with, they're just basically saying, look, we don't care what the appraisal comes in at. You get the best one you can get. This is the price. We can't afford to donate $40,000 right. on the sale of a house. And so, and it gets very difficult. The appraisers work very hard. I know a lot of the appraisers, and they work really hard trying to do their best. Most of them, especially those that live in our region. I don't know what I feel about appraisers who don't live in our counties, but right. The guys who live here, it affects the value of their home. And so I know they're working hard on everything, but the regulations are such, it's just really tough. Our houses, we build the same, and a lot of builders do this. We build the basic same 8 plans, mix them up, change a few things, but the features and everything are the same in the neighborhood. And a lot of times they sell, lot 1 is sold, but you want lot 1. Okay, well, we'll put you on lot 8. We'll give you the same floor plan. But that house, you agree to pay X price. Well, a lot of regulations won't allow that to be a comp, because it was no time for it to be open to the market.
Right.
So, so there's a lot of regulations that make the appraisals really tough. And I think that's probably our biggest challenge in our market is how does the builder get the house built and then be able to sell it for what the buyer wants? The buyer is willing to pay it. And in fact, if if her numbers are correct, it's hard to predict the future. But if her numbers are correct, we're going to continue to have less and less inventory. Right. So even though people are paying prices that seem outrageous, there's still going to be a huge demand for that commodity as we go down the road, apparently, as these millennials come crashing into the market. Right. I don't even know what we're going to do. We haven't experienced the job growth and population growth part. Right. That's been missing from our market for 2 decades. Yeah. We've been flat.
Yeah. No job growth.
No job growth. And really our population gains in Cumberland County have been really flat too, maybe 1%. So when you don't have population growth and you don't have job growth, it's astounding that we're getting price growth, but it's mostly because it just costs more. And we don't have enough inventory. And so.
And somebody in the chat asked, why is Cumberland County not appreciating like the other counties job growth?
Well, job growth, but also as your numbers show, we have much older homes in Cumberland County than these other counties because we've been growing for a long time. So you're looking at on existing 5,800 existing sales, and that includes some really old homes. When you go to Hoke County and Harnett County, they've only been growing in the last 5, 6, 7 years. So, and they only got 400 houses. So much newer inventory is what the age of the whole thing would be the biggest reason. So,
because we can sell houses, I hadn't thought about that, but we have, I'm sitting here in our office close to Haymount, built in the 1940s. That's almost 100-year-old houses now.
Right. Yeah. You don't have that many in the other counties. Our new construction in Cumberland County is going to sell typically as high or higher than in the other counties, except for Moore County. And then your existing homes are going to sell a little bit higher if compared exactly to the same type of home in Hoke and Harnett County. And so
it's one of the things that I keep seeing, and you and I have talked about this for the last 15 years, being underbuilt for 15 years, this isn't going away. And we have got to wake up planning boards, county commissioners, economic development groups to say, 1, we need job growth, and 2, we need easier development controls. So, because every county wants to control growth. Well, the problem is we must grow. We have a population that demands that we grow. I mean, she just showed us these millennials coming, and it's a bit ridiculous at $124 a square foot, because you can drive 40 miles that way and $300 a square foot is just cheap.
Right.
Yeah. And $400 a square foot is coming. So, get used to higher prices, which, and now let's talk about it's a great real estate market if you're selling, and it's not a great market if you're buying. There's always the yin and the yang of real estate.
I give a shout out to every buyer's agent out there. Buyer agents are working harder than at any time in my career. They're showing multiple homes. Their buyers are getting their hearts broken. They're getting kicked in the face. And it's tough. Buyer agents, and many agents are listing and buyer agents, right? But on the buying side, man, buyer agents are taking it on the chin as far as the workload. And so,
but now let's talk about listing agents. But you're getting 10 offers. So you got 10 different negotiations, 10 different interactions for every listing.
This market demands that buyers and sellers have good agents, because you've got to know what you're doing. Yeah. It's too complicated and it's too important. You got to really pay attention because there's a lot going on.
So if I had a piece of advice for you out there, take more classes, get more educated, get more information about your industry, because this is not a time for amateurs. It's not a time for one and done kind of sales. You got to be a pro out there.
There's a reason that a large company got out of the iBuying thing. Buyers and sellers need experts.
Right.
They need people who can explain to them what's going on and why this is important and why that's not important, and the differences between 10 offers and how to make your offer look good. So that's definitely the same. Now, back to the new construction side on the affordability, I've got two different. It's a complicated matter, right? We want nice neighborhoods. We don't want neighborhoods that are built what I call tic-tac-toe.
Right.
No sign at the front, just a street pulling off of another street and then 4 streets going across it. No sidewalks, no amenities, nothing that's going on. The problem you have is it's not that we won't get nice neighborhoods. The problem is that government thinks they know how to design nice neighborhoods. Right. So a guy who develops, he finds out what does his buying public want, and then he provides it. And if people want nice neighborhoods, they'll get nice neighborhoods. You don't have to have the government to tell the guy you got to build nice neighborhoods. Now, it is true. I'm a builder, let's say, and if I want to build much cheaper, then I'm going to do a tic-tac-toe neighborhood. Well, that means that you are a builder and you decide, no, I'm not building a tic-tac-toe. I'm going to make mine nice and I'm going to sell mine for more. And so you'll sell yours for more than the guy over there. But then it comes back to that appraisal problem, which gets to be part of the big thing. And I don't really know how we're going to fix that unless there can be some more leeway as to what can be used as comps.
Right.
So because we've got cash sales going, but a lot of times they're pre-sales and then they can't be used as a comp. And so some big challenges in the market. We actually sold less new construction this year than last year.
Oh, really?
About 17% less. And that all has to do with supply.
Market-wide?
Market-wide, the whole market. Yeah, the whole market. And that really just has to do with supply. A couple of developers I know, builders are calling them all the time going, you got lots I can buy? You got lots I can buy? Sometimes when they hear the price, they go, no, I don't want to buy those lots. You got lots I can afford.
Right.
Wow. And so, it'd be interesting, what's going on. I know Lee County and Harnett County are they're going to experience some growth because of, I think it's an Apple campus and one other campus that they're really working hard on up there. And they'll be able to pay the $200 a square foot, which is where I think if you're going to want a nice house, you're going to end up at eventually, in not too distant future.
And Lee and Harnett are experiencing the people backing out of the Raleigh marketplace because it's too expensive inside the Beltline. Let's come back this way. Johnston County is the same way. I even know Eastover, Baywood, areas like that are experiencing I can live there and work in Raleigh back and forth, or work remotely.
Right. They can very easily work remotely. I think you said we're at about a 1 month absorption.
Yeah.
Now that breaks down for new construction. That's 1.5 months. So we're 1.5. And when I checked it this morning, existing was at 0.47. Yeah. Right. So where's the houses? So as most of the audience, I'm sure, is aware, 6 months is balanced. And so we are woefully below 6 months and have been for over a year. And
that's nationwide. It's not like you can drive somewhere and find, houses everywhere. And I'm seeing houses be built, but Jessica didn't bring it up, but I've seen numbers from Dr. Yoon. To catch up, we need to be building about 1.5 million houses a year for the next 10 years. This year, we're not going to even make 1 million homes in the United States.
Right. And, the delays, I'm telling everybody, it used to be 6 months. I'm telling everybody, plan on 8, and maybe we can pull it off.
Yeah.
Make and get your house built in 8 months.
Somebody posted that Lee County growth, in their opinion, is due to life sciences and industrial business. 33% of our entire workforce is industrial in Lee County and growing more stronger.
Yes.
Lee County, if you want to study how to attract industry, go study Lee County, because now it's taken 20 years to get them into this growth mode, but they have done it right in Lee County. So any questions before we go? I don't want to hold y'all too long. We're beginning to lose people. I'll scroll back. I don't see any direct questions. Local market questions before we go? Dave, I'm so glad to visit with you. I haven't actually talked to you in weeks, months, I guess.
Oh, I know. We need to get it a little warmer so we can do a little golf.
That's right. We've got to have those meetings. Any questions before we go? Oh, here's one. What or how can we, number one, identify exactly which regulations, authorities that be are standing in our way and making development and building near attainable and doable? Our legislative committee, Jennifer, is meeting next week. I think it's the 3rd, and that's going to be dead on their agenda to take a look at that sort of thing. And the problem is it changes county by county, town by town, jurisdiction by jurisdiction. And then number 2, how can we change these regulations? Is it possible at the broker level to raise awareness and educate? Absolutely. Tell everybody that'll listen that we've got to get, and government regulation is just one of the pieces. One of the other important pieces is we've got to reconnect with high schools and Fayetteville Technical Community College to get more people trained in the building trades, heating, cooling, plumbing, wiring, framing, asphalt. If you want your kids to be rich and famous, we need to get people into the building trades. And will this take years? Yeah, it took us years to get there. It's going to take us years to get back. Oh. Angie Hedgepeth says February the 3rd that we will have a legislative meeting. Diane says this class was so great. I'm a new agent. Valuable information is what we do. Any questions before we go? Dave, thanks for joining me.
Hey, thank you, Zan.
And I am available next Tuesday morning if you want to do that thing. We'll
good.
We'll
recap.
We'll recap. Is this legislative meeting open to all members to attend? No, but it's open to the members of the legislative committee. We'll check and see if you're on it. You can call the office and see if we can get you on the into the legislative committee. So, but I'm going to call it a day.
Sounds good.
Thanks for tuning in. We had about well over 100 people here today. It's all recorded. It'll be posted on our website soon. Take notes. Big Dave, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Zan, as always.
Bye, y'all.